Hey, Mario Goodrich. Undrafted rookie free agent signing by the Eagles. Somebody I was really high on as a football player. Let's talk for a few minutes, guys. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL World? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Stephen Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel. Sports Channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Hey, what's good, guys? If you are new to the channel and you enjoyed today's discussion, if you enjoyed the topic, if I can ask you to do me a huge solid here, guys, hit that subscribe button. I would love to add you to the community. Just need you to hit that subscribe button in order to do so. To my OG subscribers, if I can just keep asking you to hit that like button, help me push the algorithm, help me get this out in front of new audience members so we can convert them into part of our little community here, guys. We're at 5,000, marching towards 10,000, guys. Hey, it'd be pretty cool if we can get there by the end of the season. All right, y'all, today's topic. I noticed something. Guys, this is going to be heavy. This is going to be really heavy into analytics, just to give you a warning. My guy Taekwon hit me up and he said, hey, Steve, any way you could talk about Mario Goodrich and go into a little bit more in-depth of why you linked him to the Eagles and like what it was about him in particular that made you think he'd be a great fit for Philly. Got you, guys. I got you. So, while breaking this down, something came to the forefront for me, to where I was like, holy crap, I didn't notice this. Somehow, in all my analysis, this went a little under, I didn't notice. It just went under the radar for me. But I need to discuss it, guys, because it's really, really important. To begin with, I'll give you the things I know about Mario Goodrich, the things I brought up in film, the things that we can talk real quick about, which is, what is Mario Goodrich? Very good zone corner, guys. He played a ton of zone at Clemson. He still took a few man snaps. He had a little bit more production inside of man systems than Steven Nelson and then like Rasul Douglas coming out of college, who are the two players you hear constantly comped to Mario Goodrich. I'm going to break this down for you, right? We're going to do a little exercise of tell me who the player is. Player A stands 5'10", 197 pounds, has 30.63-inch arm reach, has a 72.750 wingspan. He ran a 4.49 40 with a 2.63 20-yard split and a 1.57 10-yard split. Player B. Player B measured in at 6 foot, 175 pounds, had a 30.63 arm reach, 74.625-inch wingspan, ran a 4.52 40, a 2.62 20-yard split, and a 1.56 10-yard split. Player C measured in at the combine at 6'2", 209 pounds, had a 32.38-inch arm reach, a 76.875 wingspan, and put up a 4.59 40-yard dash, a 2.64 20-yard split, and a 1.57 10-yard split. Although this person, he had some concerns at his pro day because he ended up regressing to a 1.62 10-yard split at his pro day. Name the player. Who is player A? Who's player B? Who's player C? I'll give you guys just a second to comment if you guys want to play along with that. All right, y'all. Player A. Player A is Oregon State's Steven Nelson. Player B is Clemson University's Mario Goodrich. And player C is Rasul Douglas out of West Virginia University. What's the point of this, guys? They're similar players, right? I will say that Mario Goodrich, right off the bat, thinner frame. He's not almost 200 pounds like Steven Nelson. He's certainly not almost 210 pounds like Rasul Douglas. But athletically, you can see. Don't even worry. Like I said, guys, throw those 40-yard times out. They don't matter as much as people think. Pay attention to the splits, the 10 and the 20 splits, because that tells you the better story. Look at their 10 and 20-yard splits, guys. Look how eerily similar they are. It tells you about how the player plays and what the concerns are going to be. Without me even explaining it to you, what do you think the concern is going to be about Mario Goodrich at the NFL level? Staying in phase with receivers past 15 yards or so. On those plays where, you got to turn your hips and you got to run and you don't have safety help, is he going to be able to do it? Sounds a lot like Steven Nelson. Sounds a lot like Rasul Douglas. There's a reason why a lot of scouts like Lance Zierlein and people like that said he's going to fit in a Tampa 2 system or quarters coverage where you're going to have that safety help, where you're going to be too high. He's going to be a really, really good ball player for that. I would say that Mario Goodrich to me is snugly in the middle of Steven Nelson. He's bigger, in terms of the height, in terms of the reach, right? But he's thinner of frame. But he's also a little smaller than Rasul Douglas, who had crazy 32-inch arms, which is a very, very good marker for a corner, guys. I mean, that means that you had that desired length to play outside. And he's certainly not, 76, almost 77-inch wingspan. He's somewhere in the middle of these two guys. He's sitting dead in the middle of those two players. So that's what I kind of noticed on the film right away as I was watching. Like, oh, okay, he's, I see at times like he might have a little trouble with like a real burner out on the outside. But if you get Steven Nelson from 3 or 4 years ago, that guy was a little different from the Steven Nelson we had last year. So you're getting kind of, in my opinion, like a younger version of that, right? He's somewhere, he's not quite Rasul Douglas. He doesn't have that kind of arm, reach and stuff like that. He's a little closer to Steven Nelson in that regards. But I think when you look at some of the more detailed analytics, you'll see a story present itself here, guys. Which, on the season, there are some a couple of scouting publications that said, look, he's more likely to play the player and make the tackle than he is to play the football. But the analytics kind of indicate otherwise. Now, I will say that they could be projecting this, and to Lance Zierlein's credit, if you look down at some of his attributes, he does say, like, hey, when teams are trying to high-low him, and you're depending upon him to pattern match and to recognize routes, he does a really good job of gaining that appropriate depth and getting up there and breaking passes up. Hence the reason he's going to fit his own scheme really well. But a lot of teams did say they're a little worried about him playing the player more so than playing the ball. But, man, his ball production was out of this world, guys. He had 10 forced incompletions, 7 pass breakups, added a couple interceptions. Might be more of the hesitation here is like, hey, man, as much as this guy was around the ball, if he just, turned around and located the football and took it away, this guy would have some pretty crazy production in that regard. Quarterbacks only got a 49. They had a 49 passer rating against him. Man, he was good in coverage, guys. He was really good in coverage. He's underweight, 175, maybe 180 pounds if you bulk him up a little bit. He's going to be a little bit of an underweight kind of corner, but he plays tough. He's physical. Don't get it mixed up, guys. He's physical at the line. He loves to come up and actually mix it up with receivers. He will run support. He's a very good technician in terms of the run tackling, and you can see that in his actual run defense numbers. He has 7 run tackles, which you're dealing with corners, guys. You're not going to talk about a whole lot of opportunity. He has 1 run stop, so it constitutes a fail. The average depth of target was 13. Average depth of tackle, was 13 yards down the field, 13.1, which is a little further down the field, no doubt about it. But I think that has something to do with where you're playing on the field and kind of the situation you're placed in. But he had no missed tackles. He didn't miss a single tackle, that's an outstanding marker. When I compare that to a guy like Rasul Douglas, there's some similarities here between him and Rasul. So overall, Rasul, you could tell that length played into Rasul's game, guys, because 11 forced incompletions, and all 11 of those forced incompletions were by pass breakups. Him using that frame to get to the ball and knock it away. 8 interceptions. We've always known that Rasul could play the football, and Rasul was definitely a competitor, man. I remember him calling out Julio Jones in 2019. 4 touchdowns. That's the hit or miss aspect of Rasul Douglas, right? If you put him where he's got to turn his hips and run, he got better at it. I thought he got really good down the stretch of 2019. I saw a few snaps against the Giants in 2019 later in the season where he was really lined up on one-on-one situations and kind of a man coverage concept. And I thought he played a lot better than what we saw earlier on in Rasul's career. That's why I was a little shocked they didn't stick with him come 2020, but they let both him and Sidney Jones go. With that said, you can see some of the things when it comes into the context of it, right? Overall, he had 20 defensive stops, so what constitutes stopping and failure for the offense. He had 15 run tackles. He had 1 defensive stop from run tackles because his average depth of tackle was 12.9 yards, almost to where Mario Goodrich's was. He had 1 missed tackle, which is a pretty low rate given how much he played in on the run. And he had 9 defensive stops overall. So if you look at the overall concept of defensive stops, 8 of them came with the ball in the air. With Mario Goodrich, you had 1 run stop and 8 total defensive stops, so 7 of those came with the ball in the air. I can tell you, when I see things like this, what I like to look at is, okay, I have this advanced analytic, right? I have these statistics to look over. Now I need to see how this translates to the film. So I want to see, okay, are they playing a lot of bubble screens? Are they playing a lot of wide receiver screens, those slot screens? Are they attacking his side and that's why that's there? Or is this more so you're not playing the catch point? So you're not playing the ball, so you're basically allowing the receiver to catch the ball, then you're making the tackle, and if you're making a tackle short of the sticks, you're going to get a defensive stop, of course. With Mario Goodrich and with Rasul Douglas, you see the ball production. 10 forced incompletions for Mario Goodrich, 11 for Rasul Douglas, right? The way I look at it is that the film would probably indicate that these young men are coming up and playing those tunnel screens, playing those slot screens, those type of things. But when I looked at Steven Nelson's film, I thought it was a little bit more complex, guys, if I'm being honest. So he had 11 run tackles at an 8.6 average depth of target. He's playing closer to the line of scrimmage. Okay? He had 20 defensive stops overall, which is a really high number. 20 defensive stops is a really, really big number. 4 of those came from the run. So we're talking 16 from the passing game. This is a situation where I do believe this is more so the player kind of just making the tackle and not necessarily getting in there to break up the ball. Because he only had 2 pass breakups. He only had 2 forced incompletions and 2 interceptions. Gave up 3 touchdowns on the year. So with Steven Nelson, I don't think that, I do think it's a little bit more playing the ball and making the tackle. But I will say this about Steven Nelson. That 8.6 average depth of tackle kind of lines up with his NFL career, which Steven Nelson is a tough-nosed, hard-nosed player. We saw that. Like, that guy will come up and play the run. That's not your issue with Steven Nelson. He will come up and shut down those screens to receivers. Like, you definitely saw that grow into it, but I think some of it is complex because he also he definitely played the receivers, and you were really dependent upon him making a tackle before the sticks. And sometimes, although he was a solid guy that could make the tackle, and he was a short tackler, to be quite fair, there were times where his depth that he was affording, the cushion he was affording receivers, made some pretty easy pitch and catch first downs for opposition against the Eagles. Now I want to get into this, I've given you kind of the rundown, guys, how I viewed it, how I've used these advanced analytics, mixed them with the film to kind of grade these guys. He's somewhere in between these 2 players. I want to get into what I noticed from the Eagles, though. I noticed something. And this trips me out. So Steven Nelson, when he was coming out of college, he was primarily a left cornerback. He played 761 snaps on the left side, which generally speaking, normal terms just means the field side. Mind you, the field and the boundary could be the left or the right, but normally when they're dividing this up, instead of calling it boundary and field, which I don't know why they don't just do that, they'll call it left and right, when I just think it makes more sense to say boundary and field. So 761 snaps there out of 805 total. So he only played 44 as a right cornerback or the boundary. Although I think he can mix it up. It's a little weird he didn't play more. We saw that in Philly too. I mean, he really played mostly on the field side of things. He didn't necessarily play a ton on the opposite side. He did here and there, but it definitely, it leads you to see that there's not as much versatility to his game. Now I want to talk about some of the versatility. Let's go to Rasul Douglas and take a look at what he did in college. 566 snaps as a left cornerback, 315 snaps as a right cornerback. Far more versatile. Okay? How does Mario Goodrich weigh into this conversation? He's versatile. 290 snaps as a left cornerback, 250 snaps as a right cornerback. I don't know, let's call it 60-40, 55-45, somewhere in that range split. He's versatile. You can move him around. Stick with me. Last year's 4th round pick, Zach McPherson. How did he line up in college, guys? His senior year, 144 snaps in the slot, 143 snaps at left cornerback, 333 snaps at right cornerback. He's primarily more so taking snaps on the boundary side of the field, but he surely shows you he's got the versatility to be inside as a nickel and to play out there on the field side too. So, versatility. You guys get it? Goodrich, versatile. Zach McPherson, versatile. Hey, Tay Gowan, who's the guy we traded for. We attached him to the Zach Ertz trade. Guys ready for this one? 2019, the only year that he really had of credit at D1 level. Okay, playing like FBS level competition. Tay Gowan, at left cornerback, he played 376 snaps. At right cornerback, he played 376 snaps. Exactly 50-50. You guys get what's going on? Josh Jobe, the young man, the other undrafted rookie free agent the Eagles signed out of Alabama, a guy that I'm pretty high on as well. Josh Jobe played 134 snaps at left cornerback. He played 139 snaps at right cornerback. That's almost 50-50, guys. They're trying to get versatile is what I'm saying. I think that they want the flexibility to really disguise coverages and to really mix things up with these guys. You got a guy like Avonte Maddox who can play inside-outside. He played what I think was deservedly at a Pro Bowl level last year, but he didn't get the nod. But, he's a great football player. I mean, he really developed into something pretty good in the nickel, but we know he can play outside in a few snaps if you need him to. He can give you that kind of versatility. Darius Slay can play every alignment. Darius Slay can play nickel, he can play left, he can play right. I have no doubt about Darius Slay's ability to play every alignment. Tay Gowan can do that. Zach McPherson can play inside, outside, every alignment pretty much. Josh Joby can play left or right as the outside corner. I don't know about his nickel abilities. He didn't really play that. Mario Goodrich can play left or right on the outside. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, when you look at this, Gannon is trying to get versatile with this secondary. That's what he's trying to do. I'll close this out by just kind of talking about Mario Goodrich and say that what I thought he had on film was really strong pattern match abilities, and he's only got 1 year of real playing time. But he showed a tremendous ability to pattern match. He showed an ability to identify and recognize certain types of route, schemes, route combinations. I think this young man's a good fit in his own system. I really do. He's not the fastest guy. Josh Joby is a little faster, to be quite honest. But nonetheless, Mario Goodrich is a good football player. I know I just opened up a whole can of worms, and we're going to cover this stuff in several videos. These things deserve their own video. This is Mario Goodrich's. I'm going to talk about Josh Joby, guys. I'm going to talk about Tay Gowan and Zach McPherson. We're going to talk about the secondary as a whole. Trust me, those videos are coming because I think it deserves attention. If we went and signed a veteran, I think you have to look at a guy that fits the scheme as a zone defender, has some length and some ability to play outside, right? And probably, I would add on to it that they probably want a guy that's versatile, ideally. Sometimes you do what you do, but if they go seek a dude who has played, is this a guy that can play left or right? Did he do it in college? Has he done it in the NFL? And that's a fascinating video, guys, or a fascinating topic if you guys want to talk about it in the links. If you guys want to go look up and see Steven Nelson's pro career and track what he did, I mean, was he more versatile in the pros than what he was in college? I didn't have time to do all that. You can look at Rasul Douglas, and same thing, was he as versatile in the NFL as he showed in college? That would be an interesting conversation, right? That'd be definitely something. I didn't have time to do that, but I think that would definitely make an interesting point of discussion, if you will. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all's time and attention. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, guys, I'd love to add you to the community. I will be making I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to break down all these undrafted rookie free agents. I'm going to break down our draft picks. I'll put that into a separate guide, and I'll put that up for everybody. And then I'm also going to break down the 53. I'm going to break down the 90 for you. And then from the 90, we'll do a 53 as well. So all these things will be coming up in terms of the written context forms and things, guys. So it's all coming up, guys. We'll keep on this whole thing about scheme and how these guys fit. We'll do videos. We'll definitely do some written stuff. It's all coming up, guys. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much, and I'll see y'all later.